Welcome team. In this session, you're going to understand about agentic AI system or the roadmap and how to actually start or understanding the whole how to become an agentic AI developer. So the tools that agentic AI developer or an engineer will be using are, of course, from the graphical side, that is the NA10 CrewAI, and at the with the code level as a LangChain LangGraph. But in detail, till the end of this session, you will understand what's the difference between GenAI and agentic AI. What are the roles and responsibilities? Which tools, frameworks, at the graphical concept on the code level, which framework is better to use, which and the comparable differences between them. So hold on till the end of this session. So what's agentic AI? We had this traditional LLM. What is traditional LLM? That means you had a simple model where, as a user, even as you are using the chat GPT in your day-to-day life, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, um, then you are actually hitting with the text and you are getting the response back. Some of the tools, some of the models are multimodal. Even today it has many of the models have become multimodal, where you ask it in a simple English or any other language as a text, you can get back as text. You ask for a pic, it will generate the pic. That's the traditional LLM. Or maybe as a developer, you are connecting using the API, you are training with the data, and then you're asking some of the prediction or classification, or any user is actually connecting from external and it is connected into the database. So you are working in a traditional LLM, only one or two LLMs, where only one model is actually getting trained. You're asking some of the question, you're using only model. That's the traditional model. What are the disadvantages? uh, what were the boundaries? If you see, you can give in the model a single prompt, a very single prompt, not parallel ones at only one time. No, only single prompt, you get a single response. Let's take for example our chat GPT, Claude, or Perplexity, Grok, right? It doesn't have much memory between two calls. You ask one question, you ask some of the question, you keep on uh, having the conversation. Maybe this memory or the context is lost. Cannot use the external tool. uh, Keeping away the concepts of MCP and others where it is there, but these models directly cannot connect to any of the database, or it cannot go into the web. Of course, you have the Claude where you are actually accessing its external link, or maybe the browser. Ignoring those, a human drives every step. The user actually hits the question, gets the response only. It is statelets. You cancel the session or click the new chat, it won't remember. Maybe you have asked it to remember your name, your profession. In the Perplexity it could remember that, but in the new chat, exactly the very last context, it won't be able to remember it. The reason we got agentic AI is, let's take, these models are multi-stepped. Any autonomous task execution. So in the before AI, you had written the steps what to do in a very stepwise, like 1 2 3 4. If something fails, go here. It will follow those instructions and it will never disobey you, or if it fails it stops. If it fails it stops. There is no execution, there is no continuation. In agentic AI system, it is autonomous. It will decide. It can even have its own path. If you have the mod, if you have the node, it like this, it can. You have not actually trained it to go in this direction or this direction, but it can decide at runtime. It has its own engine for that. And agentic systems have the long and short term memory. In the LangChain, you will see the memory concept. They can connect to the external environments like the DB. It can connect to your WhatsApp, Telegram, any web, it can search in the web. So the external tools it can connect to, it has the concept of some of the agentic nodes. Okay, let's take in the na10 or CrewAI, or even in the LangChain, you have the concept of plan and replan. You have the memory context. They are stateful, they remember the data, the result, the last output, even if the execution goes very farther away. We will see practically in the sessions how it is, uh, how plan repan happens, how it is connected to the tools, how it is connecting to the WhatsApp or Telegram or any of the database at runtime. So in the agentic system, you have something called as the react, that is reason and act. It does some action, it will observe, think, and act. Act in the sense it can connect to any of the tool, and when it is done, it will once you have the result, after you get it as a result, it will update all its connected systems, update the memory, the context. Once it is done, it will check if whatever goal that you have given for the agentic system it has achieved or not. If it has not achieved, it can again, or even if it has achieved, it will during the re-execution it will again start with the think, it will start with the observe, think, and then act. That is the react loop. The tools. So in the agentic system, let's take, you had first LLM connecting. In the agentic system, if you have many of the models or any of the nodes directly connected, how you can actually connect it to the external tools? What are the capabilities? Is you can search and browse the internet or any of the websites, okay, or you scrap the whole website, or you have some of the models which will generate the whole code. You can it can run your shell commands, the data, the input, or during execution the files it can actually handle are of different types, like the Google Sheet, CSV, JSON. Basically, even if you want to get the output as the JSON, one of the node can give you the output. The end output can also be, input could be XML or any other thing, or there is no input, it started execution, and in between it is generating the JSON, the data. We were speaking about the tools, so it can connect to your Gmail, Outlook, WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack, MS Teams. It can connect to the API and services, whichever company, whichever third party company or database, or is exposing the REST architecture or webhooks, it, your agentic systems can connect to it. REST endpoints like the REST architecture or webhooks, and the applications like the Google Map or weather system, they expose the data through these backend systems. So your agentic systems can actually connect with it. One of the example through the LangChain is that you can make tools using the, at the code level, at the rate of tool decorator, and in the na10 graphically. Whenever I'm drawing this kind of graph, this kind of diagram that is graphical, where each of the maybe round, or this is one of the model or the task or the execution flow automation. So in the agentic systems, to start in the roadmap, once you have understood the GenAI, then you will be, the first step would be to understand the LangChain agent. Okay, in the LangChain, the what is LangChain is that you have all the chain prompts, LLM output, memory taken care of by the, at the code level. This is at the, through the code, you write down the code in the LangChain using the framework of the LangChain, LangGraph, LangSmith. You make the tools, you make the agents, and then this flow as a code, once it's execute, it has all the Python functions and all the tools, all the connectivity, all the MCP related things. Once it starts and execute, you'll get the output, and then you are using the framework like the LangSmith, LangChain Hub, LangGraph. Yeah. So what's the difference between this LangGraph, LangSmith is that you use the LangSmith basically for the evaluation, monitoring, tracing. What is the output that LangChain or the whole project of framework LangChain is giving. LangServe for the deploy any of the chain as a REST API to serve it. LangGraph, of course, stateful multi-agent. Okay, and of course we have the practical implementation or the sessions where you first install using the Python pip from, and at the code level you use it as a framework. Let's go to the next CrewAI. CrewAI, we can do it in a graphical way, or even with the at the code level, you have the framework. So CrewAI lets you create team of AI agents with different task, tool, role, or model. Okay, tools, roles, or a simple model. Let's take Google Gemini Flash. Okay, they all work together, and each, let's take, these are all the nodes. One could be a researcher, which will have the goal to search the web application. One is an analyst, like a data analyst or financial analyst. One is a writer, one is a reviewer, one is a code generating agent. So you can actually orchestrate it as an architectural. You can actually trigger it any of the event, maybe trigger it using a WhatsApp trigger, any of the user is, or MS Teams using any chat, or any of the triggers, maybe Kakfa, or even non-technical, like any of somebody visits your website, it can be as a event to trigger as an input, and it can complete its whole job, give you the result. It will achieve the goal. If it fails, then autonomously it will decide what will be the next step, that is the agentic systems. Now with respect to the CrewAI, you have all these roles, agents like reviewer, writer, analyst, researcher. My favorite after the CrewAI is the Na10. In Na10, you also have the same graphical way where all the nodes you can make using the visual canvas. You have a canvas where you can make these nodes. You can integrate it, many of the tools, external tools. Let's take, you have the whole agentic system, and one agent is connected to tool one, another to tool two. Like tool is a Gmail. It can connect to your GitHub to get your code, search your mail, write a mail, edit, read, sort, delete, and it can be hosted freely. You don't need any extra. You can have it on your server, you can have it in your local. Okay, and it in cloud. You have this sub workflow is like this part of the workflow. From a whole workflow, you have the sub workflow. It can connect to your webhooks, you can make cron jobs. One particular node is only the code, maybe the Python shell script, which can be converted as a cron job. Okay, yeah. In agents, memories are of these types. Of course, you have something called as a short term memory. Okay, it will be available only up till the execution, or through that window. Long term memory persistence, you can keep it in the RAG, vector DB, the entity, the structured knowledge graph way, or that particular episodic where you're using it a particular time based, time indexed vector store. Yeah, if you are starting with the agentic research agent, make it in the LangChain with using CrewAI graphical way. You can use the content crew, which can actually write some things on your LinkedIn, create some posts. Okay, and then once you approve it, it will be posted on their LinkedIn. Email automation, where your once a email is received, it will classify which type, drafts a reply, waits for your input, and then gives it on the Slack. It can send it, and the approval can be through any of the other chat UI, Slack or MS Teams. So to become an agentic AI developer, agentic AI engineer, as per the timeline, start with the LangChain, understand the reason and act, hands on with the CrewAI graphical and at the framework level, Na10. You have many of the projects from our side, and then at the production level, add evaluation, evals, guardrail, observability, mainly the monitoring for the tokens. And after your code is done, deploy it. If you're using on the CrewAI, you will have your Canva on the N8, also as a graphical way. If it is LangChain, then you can push it in the GitHub, run it in any of the server. Yeah, building your first agent that can browse, connect with the other web applications. It can go into the open internet, code and act. You'll be installing the LangChain. You can do it with the LangChain with a simple agent today, or with the CrewAI and LangGraph at the code level with the GitHub. Follow these tools of at the code level when you're using any of the tools at the framework level, using these decorators. Yeah, and you have multiple projects where you can actually access and check how it is working. So that's it. Any questions, write it in the comment or attend our sessions. Thank you.